Hello everyone, I'm Tyler Caldwell here, and with me is my great friend Pedro from Drew Estates. And just so you know, Drew Estate is a massive brand, one of the largest brands out there in the market. So today we're going to learn a little bit about the history of my man Pedro here. Brother, thank you so much for coming and doing an interview with us today.
Thank you so very much for having us, and thank you so much for all the support that you guys have been giving us since day one. For me, it's a pleasure to be right here at the headquarters, man. This is amazing.
That's right. That's
beautiful. You know, when it comes to just coming into the building, and I saw the amount of good stuff when it comes to pipe tobacco, and all the good stuff that you guys carry, you know, that you guys provide to your amazing customers. So it's really nice. And
Absolutely.
for me, being right here, right next to you, bro,
Man, I appreciate
that's
it.
a good thing.
That's right. So let's just kind of bang out some questions here. Let's inform the masses out there who Pedro is and your role with Drew Estate.
Absolutely. Well, first thing first, you know, when it comes to Drew Estate, everything is about teamwork. Everything that we do in Drew Estate Company is about the end consumers and our business partners and everything when it comes to the trade. Because at the end of the day, you know, when it comes to cigar, it's not one man show.
Mm-hmm.
It's the person that you have the opportunity to meet, and also thousands of people that make this amazing handmade product come to reality. Yeah. So, to me, you know, I was born in Estelí, Nicaragua. Before I came to cigars, I was a saddle maker, so I started to make saddles since I was 10 years old, and that's when I started to work from Sunday to Sunday. And then I dropped out of school for 2 years when I was 12 years old. Then after that, I decided to go back to school, but I could not afford to quit my job at the saddle shop. So I finished school, going to work at the same time. When I finished high school, I applied for a full scholarship, which was found by the United States government and managed by Georgetown University.
Okay.
The major that I applied for, it was international commerce. The program sent me to Iowa, so coming from Estelí, Nicaragua, to the Midwest. So I was living there for 2 years, zero English, bro. I was like, I was communicating myself, you know, doing signals and all kind of stuff. But thank God I graduated in 2006, and the rule of the program was that you have to go back to where you came from. Okay. And so I went back to Nicaragua in 2006. I went to every single cigar factory in my hometown looking for a job. I went to all of them. My last hope was this little cigar factory that everybody knew in Estelí, which was La Fábrica del Gringo Loco, which means the factory of the crazy gringo, which was Drew Estate, you know?
Sure. So
I went there, I applied for whatever they had available. They didn't have anything, but they said, if you really want to work, come tomorrow at 6 a.m. And I had the opportunity to meet Nicolas Melillo, Foundation Cigar.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, my role started Drew Estate, you know, carrying everybody's coffee. I was the gopher guy, you know.
Sure.
And at the same time, I was learning from every single department, everything that was taking place in the production floor, in the packaging department, and the tobacco warehouse, and the fermentation room, even in the tobacco fields. So after a year doing everything that they were asking me to do, they ended up giving me responsibilities. So then I became Nicolas' assistant, which was at that time Nicolas at Drew Estate. He was the director of international operations. So I had the opportunity to learn big, deep thing about how the factory operates. Back in 2007, the following year, Jonathan Drew, the founder of Drew Estate, opened up Cigar Safari, which is our tourism program that we have in Nicaragua, where we bring retailers and consumers from the United States and from all over the world to come and see how the cigars are being made at Drew Estate Factory and at Hoya de Nicaragua. So I had the opportunity to meet a lot of great people, and then right after that, by 2010, Jonathan Drew gave me the opportunity to run the international sales department. So at that time, I was doing everything in Nicaragua for Drew Estate in the factory. And then by 2012, Jonathan offered me the opportunity to come to the United States to work full-time for them here in the United States. And it was a beautiful blessing. It has been a beautiful blessing, bro. And I came here with a work visa, 2013, and then at the same time I was managing the Cigar Safari tours in Nicaragua. I was doing that for 6 months. We were hosting around 35 groups. There was a group coming on Sunday. The same group was leaving on Wednesday. 1 hour or half an hour, it was another group landing into Managua Airport, taking them, doing the same thing, dropping them off on Saturday, and the whole thing was going like that. And then the other 6 months, I was traveling all around the United States doing cigar events. And for me, when it comes to people that had the opportunity to come to my country, I took it very seriously and I took it to my heart, because if somebody comes to my hometown and they are there for a reason because they love cigars, I'm gonna make sure that whoever is there, next time that they think about Nicaragua, they are gonna be thinking about Drew Estate and Hoya de Nicaragua cigars.
There you go.
The same thing is when people are thinking about Drew Estate, they are gonna be thinking about the great time that they had in Nicaragua, not just learning everything about tobacco, growing tobacco, fermenting tobacco, curing tobacco, making cigars, but also about the rich culture of Nicaragua and Estelí and the amazing tradition that is in my country. So everything came out nice and good. Nowadays, what I do for Drew Estate, I work in the marketing department.
Okay.
So my title at Drew Estate is the global brand ambassador, as well as the factory spokesperson. And for me, I'm gonna tell you like this. In life, everybody has dreams. There are certain dreams that you will never imagine that they will ever come true. In my end, I will say that God is the best, because He is the one that has been giving me all the opportunities, putting me at the right place at the right time with the right people. And Drew Estate is not just about making cigars. Drew Estate, when it comes to the company, Drew Estate, when it comes to the factory, is a big family relative that comes from different walks of life. And we work very hard to make sure that every single puff that comes out of every Drew Estate cigar give you what you are expecting, which is to have an amazing smoke. And as you already know, at Drew Estate we have all different type of cigar brands, cigar that provides a very, very, very unique smoking experience, like a traditional cigar, an infused cigar, a non-traditional cigar. At the end of the day, like every single company that is in the industry, it's not about how amazing your cigars are. It's about the great people that are working on those factories, the great people that are working behind those brands, and everybody that is working in the same page.
Sure.
By keeping everybody in the same page and keeping everybody that you know, sharing with everybody the vision, the goal of the company, what you see now is gonna be very different what you're gonna see in the future. So where Drew Estate is heading, with the support from you guys and the support from the end consumers up there, we're gonna be we're heading to a beautiful journey. So I just wanna invite everybody to get on board with us, because we got a lot of stuff coming from Drew Estate, as well from Hoya, Nicaragua.
Very interesting, very interesting. You know, and it's I'm glad you bring up Hoya de Nicaragua, because the folks out there who know Drew Estate, they also know Hoya de Nicaragua, but there's people out there who don't understand that Drew Estate also represents Hoya de Nicaragua.
That's right, yep.
There is that partnership, that connection to it. So I'm really glad you bring that up. I mean, Hoya de Nicaragua, one of the first cigars I ever smoked was the Cabanetta.
Oh, man.
And to this day, still a top 10 cigar for me.
It's a beautiful cigar.
I'll even say the first cigar I ever smoked, I was 20, 21 years old. Mm-hmm. The original Kahlua cigar. That was the first cigar I ever smoked. And good luck finding those out there.
That's right. No, I mean, when it comes to Hoya de Nicaragua, you're talking about the oldest cigar factory from Nicaragua. And I do remember back when I joined the industry back in 2006, back in that time, there were certain cigar brands coming from Nicaragua, and a lot of people in the market not underestimate Nicaragua, because at that time Nicaragua was producing strong cigars, maybe a little stronger to what the market was supposed to be.
For sure.
And then little by little, Nicaragua started to surpass other amazing players like Dominican Republic cigars or Honduras cigars, here in the United States, to now worldwide Nicaraguan cigars are in a beautiful spot where people can have something from Nicaragua, not just from Hoya de Nicaragua, not just from Drew Estate, from every amazing player that is in the game. Great cigars that comes from Plasencia Cigars, from Oliva Cigar, from Dunbar Tobacco and Trust, from Foundation Cigars, from Perdomo Cigars, from Padron Cigars, my father's cigars, Tatuaje, Roman Craft. Man, I don't want to leave anybody behind because I got so much love and respect for everybody up there. And that's the thing, man. I would say if I wouldn't be an end consumer, it wouldn't be nice to be in an industry that is always striving, always reinventing itself, and always bringing cigars in a very unique way. And that's what Nicaragua is all about. And what you guys are doing right here, right now, creating content for end consumers and retailers, that's something that we die to have, because in the cigar industry, the venues that you have, the legal venues to promote your brands, are very little. If you're a cigar guy, well, a cigar channel on YouTube, a blogger on social media or website that you need to follow, At the end of the day, cigars bring a lot of people together. And that's what we are doing right here. Making handmade cigars with tobaccos that comes from different countries to create different unique blends that eventually will make it as a regular production for a cigar brand. And this is just the beginning of Drew Estate.
Absolutely. There's always the rebirth of cigars, and it's going to come from Drew Estate.
Oh, man. How is that H99 treating you?
I got to say, I've been a fan of H99 since they've been announced and came out. Liga Privada has always been one of the top lines of cigars in the industry, but the H99 is the game changer.
My man.
It's completely different than anything else in the Liga Privada line. For anyone out there who is always trying to chase that Cuban-esque flavor, if you want it from Liga Privada, the H99 is the one to go for.
My man, thank you so very much, man. That's a beautiful way that you put it right there. So, and for everybody up there, when it comes to H99, it comes from the Liga Privada family, which is Liga Privada number 9, Liga Privada T52, Liga Privada Aniversario, and the animal right there, brother.
Yeah.
The Liga Privada H99.
That's right.
Yeah, when it comes to every cigar that we make at Drew Estate, every cigar has their own unique taste and flavor. And let's start off by traditional cigar like H99. We use a very interesting grapper, which is a hybrid tobacco. That is a tobacco seed that they put it together, two different tobacco seed, which is the Habano T52 tobacco seed, put it together with Habano H99. So they put it together in a lab level, and then that seed that comes from that match right there, then they start to grow that tobacco seed in the same tobacco fields where all the grappers comes from Liga Privada. It could be broadleaf, it could be criollo, it could be everything that we do for Liga Privada. And that one turned out to be a very good one. So we got all the stuff coming on the Liga Privada H99. In terms of other ones that we do, like Undercrown, you got the Undercrown Maduro, you got the Undercrown Shade, you got the Undercrown 10, and you got 3 different blends that are traditional cigars. My go-to when it comes to the Undercrown is the Undercrown 10. It's a very robust, medium to full, hot Mexican chocolate from the beginning to the end. Another one that The one that I'm smoking right now, right here, which is Blacked by Drew Estate. This is our second collaboration with Metallica and Blacked American Whiskey. We released this cigar this year, and this cigar has been moving and performing like a rock star. So this one is more medium body when it comes to the strength. We use a very nice Connecticut shake wrapper that comes from Ecuador and South America. We use a broadleaf binder that comes from the state of Connecticut. And when it comes to the filler, we use black tobaccos that comes from Pennsylvania and Nicaragua. So shade to black, which is this one right here, follows through what M81, Black Cigar by Drew Estate, created 2 years ago. And both blends were hand-picked and select by James Hetfield, the lead singer of Metallica. So for us, having the opportunity to do a collaboration at that magnitude, it has been a milestone for Drew Estate. And at the end of the day, that's something that we have to, and we always do at Drew Estate. Put the hard work, keeping the consistency and the persistency. And at the end of the day, something is gonna happen. And things has been happening little by little. In terms of collaboration that we have done in the past, we have made a collaboration with Papi Van Winkle. We have done collaboration with other players right there, not just in the cigar industry. And other traditional cigar that we have made in the past, like Herrera Estelí, which is the whole face of the Herrera Estelí cigar line, is Willie Herrera, who is our master blender of Drew Estate. So we got the Herrera Estelí Habano, the Herrera Estelí Norteño, the Herrera Estelí Miami, which that cigar is handmade and Titandel bronze in Miami, in an area that is called La Pequeña Habana. That's the most boutique cigar factory right here in the United States.
100%.
And then you have the Herrera Estelí Norteño. We also make other traditional cigar like 20 Acre Farm, where we use Florida Sun-grown tobacco, and we incorporate those special tobaccos into that special blend. We got Nica Rustica, which is a really nice one too. I mean, I want to give a beautiful shout out to everybody that works at Drew Estate Factory. These guys are making an amazing job, and those are the famous people that not too many cigar lovers are gonna have the honor to meet them. From ladies that they do amazing job to guys that they do an amazing job as well. So yeah, and then we also have another non-traditional cigar besides Kentucky and Deadwood. We have
the acid line too.
Yeah, the acid line. And then speaking about the acid line, you have in the infused segment, you got the acid line, you got the Tabaco Especial. So acid by far has been the OG when it comes to cigars that we have released in the past, that has been selling and has been growing double digits every year, and that have to be acid cigars. Another one is Tabaco Especial. That one is a coffee infused cigar, really amazing when it comes to a morning smoke. If it happens that you're a coffee guy, well, you're gonna love those two, because Tabaco Especial, it really delivers what the cigar is all about. And the Tabaco Especial Dulce, which is mild to medium, and then you have the Tabaco Especial Negra, which is close to medium body. And then besides, super premium cigars, value cigar brands, we also have go-to or grab and go brands. In this case, Factory Smokes. As well as the tins that we make at Drew Estate, using all the different cigar lines and the blends and the flavors that we make with all the cigar line that we have in our portfolio. So, long story short, Drew Estate always do its best to create a cigar for every different palate out there. For new cigar guys, to people that are smoking regular occasion, to the guys that are heavy hitters like cigar geeks. And at the end of the day, this is how we try to manage and lead the company to where we're heading.
Absolutely. I've always told people, working on the retail side for so many years, the real benefit to Drew Estate is the portfolio is wide enough to where there's a flavor for everybody. You go to a restaurant with a nice menu, there's always a meal, an appetizer, a drink, something that everyone's going to love, where Drew Estate has it all. If you want something sweeter flavored, Drew Estate's got it. You want something spicy and strong, Drew Estate's got it.
Right.
You want Connecticut, mild, smooth, creamy, Drew Estate has it, and everything in between too.
That's right.
And then, going back to Hoya de Nicaragua, Hoya de Nicaragua has, pretty decent sized portfolio too, but it's also the same format. There's so many different cigars that just fits everyone's palate.
Absolutely, yeah, man. When it comes to Hoya de Nicaragua, speaking about Cabinera, wow, man. Amazing creamy smoke. It goes to the legendary brand, which is Antaño. And then you got Antaño City and Dark Rojo, amazing cigars. You got Obras Maestras, which translate to masterpieces from Drew Estate. When it comes to 4-5, you got Número Uno, you got Cinco Décadas, you got Cinco de Cinco. Wow, Cinco de Cinco, man, is like a treat. If you really wanna, we take care of everybody, right?
Sure.
We take care of our family and our friends, but if one day you wanna take care of yourself, okay, because you have to, life is very short, and you see Cinco de Cinco looking at you, staring at you, don't even think about it. Don't even ask question. The question that you're gonna ask, how many boxes you're gonna buy from there, but grab them, give it a shot to that cigar. That's amazing smoke, man. That's Absolutely. A really, really nice smoke. And Hoya de Nicaragua was how the whole thing came with Drew Estate. Back in the mid-2000s, Hoya de Nicaragua, we got the opportunity to start the distribution relationship with them, and it has been a beautiful marriage, if you put it that way, because Hoya de Nicaragua is a very traditional cigar company, while Drew Estate is a non-traditional cigar company in the sense of how the profile of the company is, the cigar that we create, the blend that we have, the name that we use in our cigars, and even the stories that is behind those cigars names is very different compared to how Hoya de Nicaragua is. And right at Drew Estate, we have a lot of respect from Hoya de Nicaragua. They make amazing cigars. They have a team down there that they have been in the company for many, many years. In Hoya de Nicaragua, they are the pioneers. They were the first. Before everybody else, it was Hoya de Nicaragua. So for Drew Estate, it was a big opportunity because it gave us the chance to hit a type of customer that will never smoke an infused cigar, which was the type of cigar that we used to have back in that time. And then from there, Hoya de Nicaragua have evolved that Hoya de Nicaragua is not just a big cigar company in the United States. Hoya de Nicaragua is by far the most well-known cigar company worldwide. It's unbelievable. The story that Hoya de Nicaragua has is priceless.
Absolutely.
It is priceless.
So let me ask you this. Out of the portfolio of Drew Estate and Hoya de Nicaragua included, if we want to add that into it, out of everything that's ever come out of the factories, what has been your absolute favorite?
My absolute favorite, wow, man. When I started working for Drew Estate, my absolute favorite was Cuba.
Okay.
Same as you, bro. I was smoking that cigar left and right. And then after that, my palate started to evolve.
Sure.
And then from infused cigar, I started to enjoy more mild to medium traditional cigars, then more medium body cigars. Nowadays, I'm smoke more medium to full, but at the same time, I smoke everybody's cigar.
Sure.
From Hoya de Nicaragua, from Drew Estate, and a very good joke to share with you guys. What's my favorite cigar? The one that we sell the most. But what's my go-to cigar? When it comes to Drew Estate, I like Undercrown 10.
Okay.
Undercrown 10 is amazing cigar where we use high priming Mexican wrapper, which is the San Andres. We use a broadleaf binder, and right in the filler we use heavy, rich Nicaraguan tobaccos. That cigar right there literally encapsulate the celebration back in 2020, a cigar that we released to celebrate 10 years of Undercrown being in the market. I know there is people that are gonna be debating right now that they will be like, what about Liga Privada? Well, what about this? What about that? Well, there are so many up there, and I will tell you like this. The idea for companies is not to make what they love. We have to make what you guys love. Because it's the same thing in the retail side. If you ended up buying stuff that you love, what about the guy that wanna, bring business to you and then you don't have what he's looking for or what she's looking for? So at the end of the day, it's about keeping an open mind.
Absolutely.
Not just in the manufacturing side, not just in the retail side. It's also very important in the end consumer side. Because in order for you to see how everybody's dancing to the song that the DJ is playing, you have to have open ears and have an open mind to try a little bit of everything. You will never know what are the surprises that you're gonna find. Because when it comes to cigars, it's not just great cigars that comes from Nicaragua. There are also amazing cigars that come from the Dominican Republic, from Honduras, even from Cuba. Which Cuba, they were the first in the game.
Sure.
So for us, that's what we choose for, and that's why Drew Estate purchased a lot of tobaccos that we import from Brazil, which is the Mata Fina, tobaccos that we import from Ecuador, which in this case is the Connecticut Shade Grapper, the Habano Grapper, tobaccos that we import out of Indonesia, which is the Sumatra Grapper, or Sumanta tobacco, tobaccos that we use from Dominican Republic, from Honduras, a lot of tobacco that we use from different tobacco regions in Nicaragua, which is Estelí, Ometepe, Condega, and Jalapa. Then tobaccos that we import out of the United States, tobaccos from Florida, from Louisiana, from Kentucky, from Pennsylvania, from Connecticut. And the idea, is about keeping your eyes open, because when you are creating blends, it's not just creating what everybody is making. It's taking the risk of tobacco that have never been used in a premium cigar. Well, let's use that one and let's see how it goes. We're gonna create many different blends using the same tobacco that is gonna go in different proportion of tobaccos. What is gonna be the filler, what is gonna be the seco, what is gonna be the ligero, the binder that is going to play a really nice role with the grapper. And once we find something very interesting, it's up to the factory capacity, if we have that one, to make it not as an annual release, not as a limited edition. For a company or to survive in the industry is about having regular production brands.
It's all about the core line.
The core line,
something
that's right.
You can get every day, you could smoke it every day.
That's right. That is right. So yeah, man, for us, man, that's how we look it up. And obviously, having the leadership and the vision of Jonathan Drew, the founder of Drew Estate, how Drew Estate came to be is very interesting, because before Drew Estate became to what Drew Estate is nowadays, Drew Estate was a little kiosk at the World Trade Center in New York City. Jonathan Drew, being from Brooklyn, he saw the amazing opportunity of selling cigar, and he has been always a cigar guy, very passionate when it comes to cigars and everything that we can create by hand, that he ended up making a trip in the mid-90s to Nicaragua. And that was how the whole thing started. Of, him coming with a suitcase, not full of money. Money was not in the equation. But the idea for him to create something out of nothing, I still remember the original house in Estelí, in downtown Estelí, where Drew Estate started. So it was just one house, and before it was another manufacturer making the cigar for Jonathan, and back in that time it was La Vieja Habana. And then by late 1999, Jonathan decided to open his own cigar factory, which was renting a house and hiring 5-6 people. That's how Drew Estate started. And then from that, Drew Estate started to rent another house. And renting a house, and this is something very interesting, trying to build a factory by renting houses all over town is almost an impossible mission to accomplish. So long story short, one house became 11 different houses. Back in 2006, when I joined Drew Estate, it was 11 different houses. So I was running all over town, going to the production floor that it was in this house, to the packaging department that it was in another house, to a little warehouse that we were renting out down the street, and making sure that everything was running like, like it's supposed to be running when you have one big facility. Well, we didn't have that because we didn't have no money. We were dirt broke. So Drew Estate ended up buying and acquiring a piece of land in the west side of Estelí City, and they started to build a huge factory. And everything is about reinvesting the money that you have as a profit and reinvesting in the business. So to the point that in 2007, we moved from 11 different houses to this facility. But before this facility came to into reality, just put it like this, and this is how back we go back when it comes to growing tobacco and making cigars in Nicaragua. During the 80s, we went through a civil war in my country. So it was impossible for companies to operate in a very hostile environment, you know what I mean? So from Jonathan coming into Nicaragua in the mid-90s, we're going to a country where it was no electricity, not running waters, it was scarcity everywhere, it was a nightmare. You really have to truly love it to not just survive, but taking every single punch that life throws at you and keep moving forward, just to see not just how much you love cigars, it's about how passionate you are to make your project come true. And then from that point on, Drew Estate started to evolve. When we moved to this amazing facility, people around the neighborhood, they thought that Drew Estate was building a cathedral, because that was the type of facility that it was not even taking place in Nicaragua. Most of the cigar manufacturers back in that time, they were seeing those facilities just to make cigars and export it to the United States, and then from there, bringing everything up or building the reputation, the profile of the company here in the United States. Well, Drew Estate took a whole different approach, building a big factory, creating that big factory to be the most beautiful cigar factory in the industry. And the idea was to bring retailers and end consumers. And to me, I never knew that they would ever gonna offer me that opportunity. And everything happens for a reason. And I do remember when my boss, Nicolas or Manuel Rubio, which I want to give a beautiful shout out. Manuel Rubio is our general manager at Drew Estate Factory. He was my boss too. He asked me, "Hey Pedro, we got some backpackers at the gate, so go up there and just give this guy a little tour." Sure. Well, that little tour that these guys were expecting to have, which was maybe for 30 minutes, 1 hour. Well, my tours were like 5 hours, 4 hours, because for me, 1 hour doesn't fit in the presentation to really show these people the hard work that goes into it. From the guy that is growing tobaccos in the field, to the people that are picking out those leaves one by one, to the person that are hanging those leaves in the air cure barn, to the point that you are bringing that raw material to the factory, and everybody's taking one leaf at a time and making that bonchado, and then making that roll right there, and then passing the grapper. It's hard to explain that in 1 hour. So I do remember that Nicolas and Rubio said, "Bro, come on, man, don't fucking take 5 hours, bro. I need you to go and do some stuff." I was like, yeah, man, it's gonna be a very short trip. It's gonna be, a very short tour. But at the end of the day, man, I think that life is about finding where your passion is. It's not about finding a good job. That good job can become boring at the end of the day, or eventually it will be boring. But if you find your passion, trust me, that passion that you have is gonna take you to places that you will never imagine. Put it like this, 2006 when I joined Drew Estate, I would never imagine 2024 I will be flying to Mero Beach, coming and see you guys right here.
Right.
It wouldn't be like, man, whoever told me that guy is out of his mind. But I'm gonna tell you like this, man, you put your hard work, you go to the right place at the right time with the right people, things are gonna happen little by little. And it's better that things happen little by little, because when things happen out of nowhere and happen huge, even though that you could be in the fast lane all the time, it's very important to recognize all the hard work out of everybody else that they have been doing and the people that has been helping you along the way. So for me, when it comes to myself, I mean, I'm just a grateful person that I love what I do. I'm very grateful before anything else, because there is so many great talent out there, great people from Estelí, Nicaragua, that they could be doing what I'm doing, you know what I mean? And that's why, you know, when it comes to respecting everybody, I got my respect for everybody. And when I can learn something from somebody, I'm gonna pick and I'm gonna ask question after questions, because life is about learning and learning from everybody. You get rid of the bad, you take only the good stuff. And you learn from your own mistakes, you learn from somebody else's mistakes. At the end of the day, life ends when we are dead. And there is nothing else that we can do. And things that we do at Drew State, things that we do right here in the United States in terms of education. We were talking about Cigar Safari and stuff that we do in Nicaragua when it comes to education, experiential, amazing tours, programs that we do in Nicaragua. Well, we are bringing that stuff right here to the United States. Next month, we are starting with the barn smokers. The barn smoker in Connecticut, the barn smoker in Kentucky, the barn smoker in Florida. And when people ask themselves, so what the hell are you talking about? What is the barn smoker? Barn smoker is a beautiful cigar event that takes place in a tobacco fields, which are the same fields where we get that amazing tobacco that we use in Liga Privada, tobaccos that we use in 20-acre farm, tobaccos that we use in Kentucky. So this year is gonna be like a festival type of thing, where we're gonna have amazing food, okay, with the best chef, great live music, amazing education presentation from Jonathan Drew, Willie Herrera, the owner, the family that grows tobacco for centuries on those particular tobacco fields, myself, Hoya de Nicaragua, and everybody from Drew State. And the idea is to show everybody a good time, but the most important thing is to educate people about tobacco and cigars. Because we at Drew State, we believe cigars goes hand to hand with experience.
Absolutely.
It's amazing to put it that way and to identify that huge opportunity. If somebody asks you, Taylor, what was the first cigar that you smoked, and who you smoked that cigar with, and where were you that particular day? I guarantee you that you already know. Well, if people want to know, how was your first experience smoking cigars? Who do you smoke your first cigar with?
First experience, like I said earlier, the original Kahlua, sitting around with a group of friends at a Christmas party, around a fire. An experience I'll never forget.
My man.
I'll never forget.
It's amazing, bro. And you know what? People that have been new to the game, they say, man, I love cigars. Because, man, it's really, I mean, there's so many ways to describe why people love cigars. People love cigars of the amazing people that you meet. People love cigars of the great experience that you have. And this thing is not new, bro. This thing has been around for centuries. I mean, centuries, bro. Like, if we go back like 300 years, 400 years, people were smoking tobacco, and they were smoking tobacco because of that. Even if we go way back, thousands of years, indigenous were smoking tobacco, and they were using that as a ritual purpose. When you smoke cigar, as you are doing it right now, back in that time, thousands of years, bro, they were using tobacco leaf as a ritual, smoking those leaves. Because the people back in that time, they believed that the prayers that they had, it was going to their gods. You know, the god of the sun, the moon, the earth, the rain, the health, all those different guts. And that was something that when Cristoforo Colon came to America, that was something that really impressed that guy. And after that, the whole consumption started in the old continent. And after that, 100 years later, then the United States came to the picture, growing tobacco in St. James in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Jamestown in Virginia. So tobacco has a very deep story in society as we know it. And that's a very important fact to say how different is cigar to every different tobacco product. Just right here in this amazing company, you guys are the biggest when it comes to pipe tobacco, right? And pipe and everything. And there is also all different type of tobacco that ended up in different type of tobacco product, like cigarette, or smokeless tobacco product. But at the end of the day, everybody smoke whatever they want to smoke. Is that right?
That's right.
That's really good. And now, for you, what about you, man? How long have you been doing this?
Oh, geez. As a consumer, 16 years. Working in the industry, 12 years.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So how has been those 12 years for you?
It's been magic ever since the first day I walked into a summer job, just thinking I knew anything about the industry and tobacco, and then the amount of knowledge that I've gained ever since then. It's just been magical ever since.
That's beautiful, man. Well, it's a blessing, man, to have you in the industry. Because you know what? Every industry needs somebody that is always in the trenches. You are literally educating end consumer left and right. When people go to the cigar shop and they go and see you, every suggestion that you provide to them, they know that they're gonna have a great time with
Absolutely.
Every cigar. And that's beautiful, man. That shows a lot of respect, appreciation, and passion right there.
Absolutely.
My man.
Well, you use the word respect, and I just want to go ahead and say thank you for the respect for coming here and
so very
doing
much.
this with us today. Everybody at home, on your devices, wherever you're watching this from, make sure you check out smokingpipes.com. Check out the very vast selection of Drew Estate products, as well as Hoya de Nicaragua. And if you see that comment thing down there, make sure you let us know which one's your favorite.
Absolutely. So everybody, God bless you. We're looking forward to see you. And I'm looking forward to see you next time that I'm doing a cigar event somewhere in the United States or somewhere outside the United States. In the meantime, stay smoking, be blessed. Cheers.